sampah sembarangan. Udah tahu sampah biang masalah, buang sampah pada tempatnya lah.
Iya ya, kalau bukan kita siapa lagi? Ayo kita buat Jakarta jadi bersih.
But with solar power these days, people can enjoy it and go.
Would you please answer those questions straightforward and
Air putih, air merah, air putih, where young people go into communities and just.
My card's in my bag, but I will catch you later. So where is it?
Kita nunggu sebentar sebelum kita beritanya, nanti saya kabarin.
Paling kenal saya sama ini yang lagi nulis.
Penting.
Yang berhasil wamen yang jadi
Langsung pesan suruh diambilin. Ini bukunya bagus ya, ceritain bagaimana. Jadi ini belum diapa-apain. Ini tadi benua ya? Ya.
boleh jadi artis.
Disiapin 5 menit dulu ya Pak ya.
Oke, no problem.
Kerjain aja gitu.
To the next session that we have at Minister to introduce, although he often doesn't need much introduction, but Catherine, please introduce our governor.
It's not only the first non-Muslim and also come from Chinese ethnics, but he's also I actually see his biography. He's the youngest governor in Jakarta.
Everywhere, never.
Try to avoid that actually. Actually, I don't need to explain further, but he has actually shown a very good work in Belitung, as a region. And then after that, he actually became our vice governor with obviously our current President Jokowi. And he has done, even though in such a short time, has done a few work. I mean, I actually come from a place in North Jakarta, and I have seen a lot of changes, in terms of more greens and less flooding. So I'm very, very grateful to introduce our.
Seluruh pemerintah yang lain, Ibu Mari, seluruh yang hadir. First, welcome to Jakarta City. If you been late to come to this conference, you never will have to say sorry, because we have to say sorry, not you. We could not provide a good mass transportation. What we want to do is we want to provide more our bus rapid transit, and all our bus rapid transit use compressed gas, natural gas. But what the problem? The problem is we still have a fuel subsidy. There are many buses they don't want to turn to be gas because it's cheap. But today different. People already, or we call it angkot, a small bus. They already use this CNG. There's the good news. maybe the bad news is not how to remove carbon dioxide in the air. It's very easy. I think everybody know. We maintain the tree and we plant more tree. This is very easy. But the problem in Jakarta, we have 13 main river. If we talk about river, we just could supply the fresh water under 50% for the resident in Jakarta. Why? Because we lack of the water resources. This 13 main river is polluted and full of garbage. Why? Because all the inspection road for maintain this river is occupied by squatter. And not only occupied by squatter on the inspection road, but they live in the riverbank. If you heard the news, the flood coming, and the depth of the flood is above 7 meters. How come 7 meters in South Jakarta? That means in my home in North Jakarta, I already sinking. So I want ready to know why. Because they live in the riverbank. And the water comes like Kampung Pulo, Bukit Duri. Every time Bogor rain, there's the mayor of Bogor, my best friend. If the rain comes in Bogor, all this Kampung Pulo flood because they live in the riverbank. Now, what's the solution for plant more tree? We have to demolish all this squatter illegal housing in the riverbank and the inspection road. And that's the idea. But we really want to make the city we serve for humanity. I always talk to Mr. President. We want to be a governor and vice governor in Jakarta, not because for power or for position. That's why our party asked us to come from a small town to change, to make a big transformation. That's why what we want to do is not for position and for power, but for humanity and service to others. That's why the problem is coming when you set humanity and service to others. You have to provide for them a low-cost apartment. That's why we try as soon as possible to provide this low-cost apartment. But the problem also coming is also very humanity. I think in this forum it's better to talk about the social problem. When you're talking about the carbon dioxide and everything, I think everybody knows about it. I just want to share what the Jakarta real problem. We're talking about low-cost apartment. Like a one man, 67 years old, we moved him to this low-cost apartment. And the middle class, the property in Jakarta, the past 3 and 4 years, jumped maybe 3 times, 4 times price. And the middle class could not get the very low-cost apartment. They have to go to the suburb area. And traffic, they don't have a mass transportation. That's why they prefer to buy the right from this ex-squatter in this government low-cost apartment. They buy. We just ask them to pay the fee $50 a day. Not for rent, just $50 a day for the lift, for security, for garbage, everything, $50. That's why the middle class, this is a very teaser. Middle class purchase from them $5,000 US. Yeah, maybe now it's $4,000 US. And this man bribed our official, more or less $500 to change the certificate. And this old man begged to riverbank. He developed his own house, maybe spent $1,000 US only. And the electricity company supplied electricity for them. That's why Jakarta, 1 year, more than 6,000 fire accident. Because this is a really squatter, this is an illegal housing. They could not meet the spec. So we asked, and maybe he just spent $500 to sell this cell phone credit voucher. Now maybe she still left at $2,500. So we asked him, why you sell your right? And he answered very human. Since I was born until 67 years old, I am poor. For what you give me a low-cost apartment? Since I was born from the riverbank, now I got the money. I could beg, I still have a saving. Maybe I could marry again. Still very human. 67 years old, very human. That's why now we are very strict. We fired our official and we use ATM, bank card, to solve this problem. So if you make a change, the ownership, I will bring you to court because this is a criminal for the banking monetary system, not about the local apartment. This is the situation, but we believe, and another program we want to do is, we purchase many houses in the Kampung area. We turn to be a park, but we call this park is the integrated park. This park also have a daycare, also have a library, also have a this is a kindergarten, a playgroup. We want to make it also, this is a health care also, to make the first identify what's you like a SIV status, we want to know your health condition. So we develop, next year March, we will accomplish this model in the park. Now the problem also come, in our law and regulation, you could not develop a housing, even a toilet, a restroom, on the green area. I said, how come? This is the law. I break the law. I don't care. I said, you have to provide for them in this place. We provide for this. So we could get more trees and more people could interact with each other, and we could control the health, education, and we know who they are. That's a Jakarta problem. Also for the mosque. Jakarta have many mosques because there's a majority Muslim. Very small. When I was young children, we like to pray in the mosque. My hometown is 93% Muslim population. We like to pray there. Some of our friends, the Muslim, get prayer and service. Now in Jakarta, they could not pray. That's why we like praying in another place. We really want to make Jakarta, people, the teenagers like to go to the mosque because they have a big park for this mosque. That's why we want to purchase the house next door of this mosque. We want to purchase and we want to turn to be a park. Then people could come in and have a Wi-Fi. They could talk with them. So they could gather together and could plant another tree. We really have a planning, keep maintain the tree and keep plant more tree in Jakarta and more park, because this is, I think this is only the solution for many things we want to discuss in this moment. I think only that, maybe the last, I just want to share. So, what's the problem for Jakarta? In my region, it's more difficult. Jakarta is more easy. We already have all the problem and all the solution. We know very well. The problem is how to implement all of this. Because when you execute this solution, you will disrupt the vested interest from the poorest until the richest in Jakarta. When I talk about that, that's why I never want to train my brain again. No need in Jakarta, because too many smart people than me. I just need to train my muscle. Heart muscle, nerve muscle, and my leg. If I have a big demonstration, how I could run in 10 minutes without stop. Because you disrupt too many vested interests of the people in Jakarta. Not only that, I hope this discussion will give us more solution. Maybe more solution that I not yet know about how to solve the Jakarta problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You're definitely a model for good governance, but good governance also needs money. So I'm now very pleased to announce Raja Nagoro, our Minister of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia. Bambang,
Governor, distinguished speakers, Umari, Ambassador Blake, and all participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon to all of you. I have to admit that I was quite lucky when I was assigned by President to be the Minister of Finance for the Kabinet Kerja, because I've been in Ministry of Finance for 4 years. And during my 4 years in Ministry of Finance, I learned very much that the energy policy has a very significant impact to our fiscal policy and also to the macroeconomic policy in general. So this afternoon, in brief occasion, I would like to talk more about the energy policy, not necessarily on the latest fuel subsidy reform that we have done. I think you have discussed and you have read a lot about that. But I think it's better for our interest to discuss about the future of our energy policy related to the idea of the sustainability. Of course, in my opinion, the so-called energy policy has to be both ensuring environmental sustainability as well as fiscal sustainability. It means that we really have to work very hard in ensuring that our energy policy will be a right policy for the future of Indonesia. So let me start with the policy related to the fuel. Of course, reform, shifting the subsidy from the consumptive one into productive one, from price or commodity subsidy to well-targeted subsidy would be one thing. And it is a must because we need to support our economic growth. Given our current condition, I think our emphasis will be more on the macroeconomic stabilization. But at the same time, we still have 6% open unemployment, 11% poverty, meaning that growth is still very important. It means we have to create the balance between macroeconomic stabilization and economic growth. And one aspect of pursuing the growth is to increase the government investment through the shifting of the subsidy budget, fuel subsidy budget, into, let's say, infrastructure or social protection budget. So this is the one that at least we have started at the beginning of the week. But we have to think about the future. And I really like to pay attention first to the transportation, energy for the transportation. I think, Mr. Governor, Pak Ahok, we need to work hand in hand and more seriously, and maybe it has to be more authoritative in making natural gas as a real alternative energy, at least for public transportation in Jakarta and other big cities. I believe with, of course, the cooperation from other ministers, including Ministry of Energy, Ministry of Transportation, maybe this is again my idea, we have to issue like a mandatory regulation saying, let's say, in 3 years' time, all public transportation, as well all the goods transportation, like trucks, have to use natural gas. I think if we use natural gas, the impact will be tremendous. From environmental point of view, it's clear. It's clean energy. no doubt about that. From fiscal point of view, no subsidy, Pak Ahok, because we have done a study about the so-called economic price of natural gas per liter equivalent to the fuel. The so-called, the optimal price is only 4,500 rupiah. With 4,500 rupiah, both producers and consumers will be happy. And more importantly, no subsidy required from the government. Zero subsidy. Customer will be happy because they can buy the energy with only 4,500, certainly much less than, let's say, 7,500 for diesel fuel right now. Producers, Pertamina, PGN, or others, you name it, even maybe some foreign investors, will be attracted to go into this natural gas for transportation sector. If Thailand has done that successfully, Italy has done that successfully, at least these two countries that I know already using the natural gas quite extensively, why not Indonesia? Why not Jakarta? I don't think Thailand and Italy has source of natural gas like what we had in the past in Arun. Now we have it still in Badak, in East Kalimantan, the new one in Tangguh, in Papua. The incoming ones would be in Maluku, it's called Masela, Strait of Makassar, and maybe the future in Natuna. So we still have plenty of source of natural gas, but somehow we haven't utilized natural gas optimally for our transportation. So I think that should be the direction for the public transportation or urban transportation energy in the near future. And what we need to spend from the budget, Pak Ahok, maybe together, APBN and APBD, national budget as well as Jakarta's budget, to give free converter kit for all public transportation and all the trucks. And they will be happy. And I don't think it will be significant in terms of the size of the budget that will be spent for giving converter kit for free. As long as we can ensure this converter kit will be safe and reliable device. Of course, we have to avoid the bad, so-called, quote-unquote, the bad history of the 3 kilograms LPG, in which during the first years of implementation, there are so many accidents involving the household. But I believe if we work seriously, at least start with Jakarta, because Jakarta has very many public transportation, we can start doing a sustainable energy policy, sustainable from environmental point of view, and sustainable from fiscal point of view. I think that would be the most ideal thing that we can do for energy policy in the near future. We don't have to wait 3 years or 5 years. We can do it, Pak Ahok, even next year. So I really urge you to work together to make sure that we can start with alternative energy. The other alternative energy that we should pursue is the biofuel. As you know, our biofuel is, unlike in Brazil, they are used the sugarcane, or US using the, the corn, corn or soybean. In Indonesia, we rely on CPO. And from CPO, we can produce the biofuel. So far, we only have mandatory biofuel for our diesel fuel, 10%. We call it B10. And of course, we have to check whether this B10 has been implemented widely in Indonesia. I suspect there are still some consumption of diesel fuel not blended with the biofuel. So first, you have to make sure everybody use the 10% biofuel. And then, these days, CPO price is at the lowest. And for the CPO producer in Indonesia, the owner of plantation, they really hope this B10 can be increased to either B15 or B20. Why? Because they can find the outlet for their product. Because if they export, the price is low. So they prefer to sell this to the biofuel here domestically, and then if they can sell more of their product to biofuel, they can reduce the export of CPO, and hopefully the global price will increase. So this is again a very good strategy of doing the energy policy. And according to the CPO producers, Indonesia can even increase maximum, given the projection of production of CPO in the future. I know, of course, CPO is still controversial for some of you regarding the sustainability, but if you're talking about the production of CPO of Indonesia in the future, and then the capacity to produce biofuel, we can even go to B30. And if we can achieve B30, we will be at the same level of playing field with Brazil, that has been able to increase the ethanol up to 40%, for example. Or in other countries that has been able to blend their fossil fuel with the renewable energy. And what will be the impact of this natural gas and biofuel for both fiscal and macroeconomic situation of Indonesia? For sure, we can substitute the import. We can reduce the import of diesel fuel. Currently we have to import, as you know. And then we can also reduce the import of the gasoline in general, if we have been able to use natural gas. And if we give the incentive right, we don't have to rely the consumption of natural gas only by the public transportation, but even by all of you, the private citizens, who can voluntarily have option whether you want to buy fuel or you want to buy natural gas. And I think in this decision, your rationality will go to the maximum. You will look at the price, 4,500 versus 8,500. So only rational people will go with the 4,500, and I believe all of you are rational. So again, by doing so-called the nature of the economic concept, then we can shift our energy policy to more sustainable one. Again, sustainable from environmental and also from fiscal. And also at the end, macroeconomic point of view, current account deficit might be reduced, because one thing that makes our current account becoming deficit quite significantly is our big deficit in the oil and gas trade balance. So we need to reduce the deficit in oil and gas trade balance in order to improve the current account deficit. Of course, you might limit the consumption, but given the demand is growing very fast, our economy is still growing, then it's hard to limit the demand or limit the consumption. Increasing the oil production is almost impossible. Our oil production is declining. The only hope is increasing the gas production, but it will take some time, long time just to invest. So the quick win for reducing the current account deficit from energy point of view is by energy conversion, energy shifting, and quite fortunately, this shifting is from non-renewable fossil fuel base into renewable non-fossil fuel base. So this is actually ideal picture. Somehow we know actually about this ideal picture, I believe, from long time ago, but somehow we haven't moved a little bit, for this ideal picture. So I guess with the support, of course, with the governor like Pak Ahok, I believe this ideal picture will be in our hand in very short period of time, as early as next year. Renewable source of energy for our electricity. First, of course, geothermal. But I think we have to admit, investment in geothermal is quite expensive. Getting the license from forestry sometimes difficult. And then the risk of exploration in geothermal is also high. I got some comment from the investors, the success rate may be 20 to 30% when they do the exploration. So things related to exploration, I think, needs to be improved. But still, the potential of geothermal is there. Secondly is hydro. I think hydro is very important. We don't have to talk about a big dam or waduk. Yeah, we can use as many as possible. The mini hydro is available everywhere in Indonesia, and we use the river run actually. And so far we haven't touched too much with this source of energy. And another one would be biomass. I think it's very very local, but it's quite friendly for the local as well as for the environment. So with the combination of this renewable energy, and one more thing, I think now PLN is trying to substitute their diesel fuel or MFO into PPO, pure palm oil. So basically they just substitute the diesel fuel, which is fossil based, into pure palm oil, which is certainly is more renewable. And that would be another alternative for the so-called sustainable energy policy that is both fiscally sustainable as well as environmentally sustainable. I believe if we can work on these two issues, electricity and fuel, we can get not only a better budget picture for fiscal point of view, a better current account deficit, but more importantly, I believe a better report about Indonesia's effort in reducing the emissions and to make Indonesia more sustainable in everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Bambang. Unfortunately, we have no time for Q&A. Can we give another round of applause to our governor and a real model and hopefully a bright light in our future for Indonesia, Jakarta, for Indonesia, for governance. As a token of appreciation, there's here from the. I'd like to invite you to as the souvenir. Okay, I think the media at the corner. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Governor Ahok and Minister Bambang Brojonegoro. And the microphone to Pak Yatna, who will now lead the panel. What are the existing initiatives and future funding for sustainable energy initiatives or schemes for Indonesia? Yes, they're all there now. Okay, Pak Yatna, thank you very much.
Thank you. We just had 1 minute to have dignitary on